Gentlelady yields back. I'd like to recognize the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Babin, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. And thank you, witnesses, for being here. I'd like to ask my first question of Mr. Myers of AccuWeather. Mr. Myers, who makes up the American weather industry, quote unquote, and what steps could be taken to improve cooperative relationships between NOAA and these companies? If you could elaborate on that, I would appreciate it.
Well, I think different people have different definitions of what constitutes the American weather industry. If you look at some of the groups like the Weather Coalition or the American Weather and Climate Industry Association, they're very welcoming of all members who touch upon any form of weather information and forecast, from the data collection itself all the way through the modeling and to the distributors of information. So I think the definition is relatively broad. Your second question was? I'm not thinking back on. I'm sorry. What could we do to improve cooperative relationships between NOAA and these particular companies that you just mentioned? Well, this has been an ongoing effort, at least that I've been involved in for 20-some years, actively. And I think that it has generally improved. If you looked at a chart, it would be on the upswing. I think there needs to be further interaction at all levels of NOAA. I think that NOAA could benefit from better understanding exactly what the value is that the weather industry brings to the whole weather enterprise. We do get a lot of that recognition now in many of the management areas. A number of years ago, when you talked about these things, it was looked upon as though we were competing somehow with what the government does, but quite to the contrary. I have been here to testify and in other committees many times in support of funding for NOAA and the job that they do. I think that things like the Ice Week Committee and part of the SAB for NOAA has, over the last 6 or 7 years it's been in existence, has been very beneficial in interacting and enhancing that communication. And I think activities like that need to continue and be strengthened.
Okay, thank you. And in your mind, what is the goal of weather forecasts in the future? How far out will we be able to accurately predict the weather? And are there specific goals for the next 5, 10, 15 years?
Well, I know at AccuWeather we're constantly pushing the envelope, and we sometimes get criticized for doing so. We launched a 90-day forecast, for example, that has hour-by-hour predictions in it that some have made a joke of. But the fact is that there's actual science behind it. I know when we first started introducing the 5-day forecast decades ago, people said the same thing: you can't do it. I think that there is no end to what you can do. Our accuracy, for example, with tornado and hurricane forecasting is literally amazing. We have had plants evacuated 20 minutes before they've been totally destroyed by tornadoes and saved all the lives inside. The U.S. Congress, in its report on Hurricane Katrina, talked about how AccuWeather was, in fact, the only organization that had it right and far enough in advance. So there are lots of things that can be done. I think that better understanding of what, in fact, the private sector does in forecasting is very important, because we do specialize in a number of areas and activities, and even outside independent sources now that do ranking of forecasts have shown that the AccuWeather forecasts are actually statistically more valid than anybody's. And there are ways that that happens. It's not just magic.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I yield back the balance of my time.